We're All right, we have another riveting episode of Vanderpump Rules. We're getting ready to go to Lake Tahoe, and Ariana Madix doesn't seem to have any sympathy for Tom Sandoval, but should she, is the question of the night. Let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
I think we need to shift a little bit. We're a little off balance.
Oh, but I like this.
Okay, if I don't get to do the armrest, you don't get to do the armrest.
All right, fair.
Fair is fair.
Fair is fair. Okay.
What were your overall thoughts of tonight's Vanderpump Rules?
Meh. I mean, we had some really good points in the episode. I really enjoyed watching Lala and James, to be honest with you, and kind of the kinship that they've found over the years and the very strong similarities that their lives have seemed to take, especially when Lala was talking about, her and Randall, him and Raquel, all that stuff, and they're both
Rachel. Her name is Rachel. She's a healed woman now.
I don't know. I can't fucking keep up. Can y'all keep up?
No.
Nor
do I care. I don't give a fuck about what goes on with Rachel and her podcast. It's a total flop.
Did you listen to that one soundbite that I think was yesterday? Her talking about how he was still reaching out to her, telling her that she was selfish for going to this wellness center or wherever it was that she went. I mean, I think that's, there was some serious mental manipulation going on there.
She's a 30-fucking-year-old woman. I'm not going to go and bitch about somebody manipulating me. I'm an adult. Come on. At some point, you need to put your big girl panties on. In this case, she was used to taking them off, but it's time we put them on, own our shit, have a little accountability. The two of them are their own worst enemy. Both of them, Tom Sandoval and Rachel.
Zach, you really should learn to form an opinion.
I just can't with her because her and Sandoval want to position themselves as this perpetual victim, and I'm just neither of you are a victim. You lied and manipulated, and she was just as manipulative towards Ariana as Tom was. Okay, let's not give her a pass because she wanted to go to a mental facility for 90 days and come out of it not a rehab changed woman. Okay, all she does is deflect.
Okay, great. And then can we just not talk about her anymore? Because you get on that soapbox and it's hard to get you to come back down.
Danielle says, hi, everyone. Hey, Zack Pack. Hey, Zack and Josh. I listened to you on Jeff Lewis live today, but now I want to hear more of you on here. Did you guys catch Jeff Lewis live? What were your thoughts? Let me know. Josh didn't listen, so.
I didn't listen because I was working today. Sorry. My shirt. Yes, I absolutely am very happy to explain my shirt. This was a gift from a very sweet Louisianian from Runaway Cajun Apparel. Boudin is our Louisiana dish. It's essentially kind of best way I can describe it is
like punani.
Please do not try to disrespect my hometown dishes. But boudin is essentially kind of the best way I can describe it is a dirty rice that's shoved into a casing.
Oh,
looks like sausage. Hold comments. Don't say anything.
Gonna bite my tongue on this one.
But yeah, boudin. That's what it is. That's the quickest way I can think of to describe it because I don't want to
Do you like lots of boudin?
I love lots of boudin.
I bet you do.
The actual food. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Zach.
Listen, I've enjoyed a good boudin here and then, and
you have never had boudin.
Not yet.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, let's talk about Vanderpump.
Yes.
So we open up with Katie and Ariana talking about running into the Uber driver that was there the night Tom and Ariana broke up, the time she found out about the affair. What a coinky-dink.
Yeah, quite the coinky-dink. I just love how Ariana was like, "Do you know how many people probably want to talk to this guy at this point?"
And he has no clue. He's just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I remember you were fighting with your boyfriend that one
No,
night."
he said husband. And she was
Husband.
like, "No, not my husband.
Ain't
Not
the
the
husband.
husband."
She did not marry him for good reason.
Well, thank God she didn't. Could you imagine?
Yeah, and then we see Katie talking about how she would rather work on this sandwich shop instead of going to Lake Tahoe, and I'm like, she must be working real hard because that place is still not open.
I don't think that that's fair. You know how difficult it is to
I
open
know.
anything in West Hollywood.
I know. I know. The only thing easy to open in West Hollywood is your butt cheeks.
God, I'm asking for your help, please. God.
Then we see Lala and Sheena pay a visit to Lisa Vanderpump.
Yes.
And Lisa thinks that Lala and Sheena should have a little more compassion for Tom Sandoval. What do you think?
I understand where Lisa's coming from just because of what she went through with her brother. And when you talk about the S word, that,
Yeah,
if he brought that up, it's something that should always be taken seriously,
I agree.
no matter what the circumstances. So I understand where she was coming from, and I think it really did kind of flip a switch in Lala and Sheena, and they were like, "Oh, okay, let's take a step back. Should we, pump the brakes, ease off a little bit?" So
Yes.
I understand where she was coming from, because at the end of the day, Lisa cares about all of them like they're her children.
Yeah.
I feel like she has a certain unconditional love for each of them. So
I agree. Some people thought that Sheena was making this all about herself, that she's focused too much on her friendship with Sandoval and she's not thinking of Ariana, and she should absolutely cut off Sandoval because it's not about her. She wasn't the one that was cheated on.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I think that Sheena kind of absorbed what she heard from LVP and was trying to apply it. Does she talk a lot about, he was one of my best friends? I mean, yes, she does. He was a part of her life. Do I think she's making it about herself necessarily? No. But I can see how people would kind of take that leap.
I think Sheena's absolutely making it about herself, but she's absolutely valid to make it about herself because her feelings are also real in this. Tom was her friend. Tom lied to her. Rachel lied to her. There's a betrayal that like we're glossing over that Sheena experienced because we're too focused on Ariana's experience, and we have to realize Ariana is not the only person. Like, yes, there's a big part of it that does belong to Ariana, and like we have deep empathy for Ariana, but like Sheena also had an experience, and that experience is also valid.
That is so well said. And
Thank you.
it's also like Sheena was also involved in a very deep way as well, like with the cease, not cease and desist.
Oh, yeah.
The what's it called?
It was a temporary restraining order, TRO.
Restraining order. That's what it was. Yeah. I mean, like she legally got involved in this and everything. So I think that Sheena's feelings are
And Rachel's
totally
a fucking
valid.
moron because then she was just like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to send the TRO after you." It was like, "Yes, you did. Shut up. Yes, you did.
And
you meant it, and you did it, and you made it a mess at the reunion." And then, did you read the New York Times article that Tom Sandoval did?
oh my
No,
God.
but did you read the article?
No, I only got that one quick bite of him comparing himself to the
Oh.
OJ Simpson and the George Floyd of it all, and I just could not.
The article is gold, Joshua.
God, why?
Well, not only does he also compare himself to Danny Masterson, who's a convicted rapist, and he's just like, I think I got more hate than Danny Masterson did, and I shouldn't have done that. God, Lala. And so he was just ranting about that. And then the author from the New York Times drags his publicist so hard,
That was
basically calling her a 23-year-old fangirl, and she's like, this publicist was just as much invested and interested in Tom Sandoval's life and in Vanderpump Rules as I was.
I mean, I'm telling you, when I just the one thing that I heard, I was like, where is his publicist? He needs to have like an earpiece in his ear at all times so people can say, don't say that.
But the thing is, and the author also goes into it, and she's just like, I went in and he asked me right away, do I want to record everything so that I don't miss it? She's like, he was ready for it.
Girl.
But when it comes to Rachel, Alex Baskin reveals in the article, because he's also interviewed, that not only was Rachel asking for a pay raise for Vanderpump Rules, but she also was asking for a development deal with Bravo.
Which means what exactly?
I don't know what she was going to develop. Her podcast is a fucking flop.
In case y'all did not know, Zack really does not like her.
Listen, I didn't like that bitch from the first time I saw her on my television screen. And everyone's like, be nice to her, be nice to her. She's a sweet girl. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something about her. I don't trust her. And here we are.
Here we are.
I'm vindicated.
All right, what's our next?
We see James's barbecue.
I gotta tell you that I used to not care for James, and I don't know if I've said this before. I used to not really like. He seemed a little too volatile for me, but I have grown to love James.
Yeah.
He just reminds me of like a little boy, and he's just, even though he gets like fussy and everything, and sometimes needs to be put in timeout. I think that his heart is always in the right place.
Kind of like you.
Shut up.
Fabi wants to know what a development deal is. So a development deal is basically where you have a deal with the network to develop content. Essentially, Rachel wanted to develop her own show with Bravo. Is kind of what she was looking for.
Yeah.
It was probably like a first look deal where she can pitch them and Bravo can consider that and kind of take priority considering that.
Yeah.
But like, what is her show gonna be? Rachel goes rogue. Fucking go rogue and stay there. Nobody cares. Which is funny because the author of the New York Times article also kind of drags Rachel in that sense. And she's like, she decided to leave the show for her mental health, but then she decided to go off and launch an entire podcast about the show that she didn't want to return to.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't really make sense to me either, but.
Okay. Next. Okay, so we're at James's barbecue.
Yeah.
And while we're at James's barbecue and things are heating up over there, we see Tom Sandoval and he decides he's going to go into a cold plunge to fix his life.
This scene just was so odd to me. Where are my notes? Sorry, I'll remember it. Anyways, but it just felt so awkward with him and Billy. Like it didn't seem authentic to me.
Listen, I will say this about Billy, and I know I've been critical of Billy in the past, but I like that Billy is a ride or die friend, right? Because a lot of people, Tom's brother too, were like, take photos down from Instagram. I don't want to be associated with you. And Billy's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go and I'm going to film with you and I'm going to be your friend. And I don't care if I'm seen with you. And I know I'm going to be dragged for this. And that's one thing you got to give Billy is she is a loyal friend. Because when shit hits the fan, you're going to need somebody that's going to ride for you. And that is Billy.
Well, I kind of agree with this comment. I think it did kind of look like she was idolizing.
Do you think Sandoval and Billy hooked up?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
I thought it was interesting that she launched a podcast. Congrats. That's a noble thing to do these days. She launched a podcast and she had Sandoval on her podcast as the first episode. And in it, she reveals that Sheena invited her to participate in a threesome.
Billy said that.
Yes.
Do you think that's true?
I mean, sure. She's like, but I wasn't into her ex. So I'm assuming the ex was maybe Rob, Mr. 7 Minutes.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. It depends on who the ex is. Definitely not with Brock.
No, it was definitely not with Brock. And she clarifies that in her interview too, that it was not with Brock.
Okay. Got it.
Billy's face when Tom was in the bath was awkward yet hysterical and scary. I mean,
it was like, it just like, and I'm not trying to talk any shit on. I have no reason to dislike Billy. I enjoyed her when she was on the show initially.
You did?
Yeah.
That was convincing.
I mean, like she wasn't like a Stassi to me. Stassi's always going to be my number one, but like never like not enjoyed her, and I don't know. It's just interesting that she's being so loyal to the worm.
Um, Fabi says Billy is ride or die for the cloud. I don't think it's about the cloud because what cloud is she
That's not
gaining?
the clout that
She's
you want to
getting
gain.
dragged.
Yeah.
Like, but think about it. Like, if you were in that position, right? Where let's say you weren't directly involved in the scandal. You weren't Sheena and you
Mhm.
weren't Ariana, but maybe you are in a position like a Tom Schwartz or a Billy Lee where you have all of this history with Tom. You care about Tom very much. He fucks up on this huge magnitude of a scale.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you bounce on the dude? I mean,
Well, wait. What was her relationship with Ariana?
very similar to her relationship with Tom, but I think Ariana made it clear that if you're going to be friends with Tom, then you can't be friends with her. So I think Billy was like, "All right, then I guess I'm not friends with you anymore."
All right. Well, I mean, shit. I don't. I'm trying to think, and like I'm trying to find empathy where I can for anyone except for the worm. But like, what would I do in Ariana's shoes? Would I give my friends an ultimatum and say, if you're friends with him, you're not friends with me? I mean, like if it was just like we broke up and whatever, it didn't work out, that would be a little extreme. But I don't know, to be betrayed in such a public, humiliating way.
I don't think I would put my friends in a position of an ultimatum. Um,
Even with that level of betrayal.
Even with that level of betrayal, I would be like, "Listen, you can be friends with him. I don't wanna be around him. I don't wanna hear jack shit about him. You be friends with him. That's your business on the side. I'm not gonna stop you from doing that. I just want 0 association to this person, and
Mhm.
eventually this person will show you who they are." Like Lala told to Schwartz, and here we are. And so I feel like I would let them continue to make their own mistake or continue to work on that friendship, because you also
Mhm.
have to realize like there was at some point a level of care that you had for this person that
Yeah.
I would also want to be like, I hope this person, as fucked up as they are, can learn from this, and at least I know my friend here is a good enough person that hopefully they can help you see the light. I don't want jack shit to do with you. You can go fucking do whatever the fuck you want to do without me, but like hopefully you can find Jesus. You know what I mean? And if Schwartz can help you find Jesus, then go do it.
Praise God.
There you go. So I understand Billy's perspective. I understand Billy deciding to film with Tom. I don't think it's for the clout because I think there's more of the shit gets thrown at you more than there is any of the good or the publicity that comes with it. Because it's like, what publicity is Billy really gaining aside from everybody shitting on her?
I don't know. Do you think she's in love with Tom? I keep going back to how she was looking at him in that cold plunge.
I
It,
think Billy's a very empathetic person and she
Mhm.
feels for Tom because you also have to think about it. If this is your friend, again, I know we don't like Tom and I know this isn't the favorable answer, but just think about it. We've all had friends that have really fucked up on a huge scale,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes you want to help them see the light, but when you see them really struggling, that's the last time you want to cut them off. And when you
Mhm.
see Billy talking to him and she's like, I really thought that there were some nights where we may have lost you. I think that that was
Mhm.
real. And I think
Yeah.
that that was real emotion. Now, again, we can't question how serious or severe that was when it comes to Tom. Lisa is taking it very seriously. We have
Yeah.
Ariana who's like, this is not real. We see her at the barbecue saying that this is all just a manipulation tactic from Tom Sandoval because that's the type of person that he is. He's that manipulative.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't like that she doesn't have any sort of like empathy for him, considering she was also struggling with depression during their relationship and he didn't have much empathy for her. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think that he really is having a hard time. I think he really is struggling when you have the entire world against you and it feels like your
Mhm.
life has been turned upside down. Yes, it's his fault. And I think had
Yeah.
he had more humility and had he been
Yes.
more
Like, take
accountable
accountability for what you've
upfront,
done.
yes.
Yeah.
Had
But he's
he
still not doing that.
He's still not doing that. Had he done that up front, I think it would have been a totally different ballpark that we would be in right now because I
Mhm.
think eventually the heat would have died down a bit. But he went into this thing of like, well, I can't do anything. If I cry, my tears are fake. And if I don't cry, then I'm not sincere. And it's like, stop thinking about what everybody else is going to think of you and just be human and honest and real and accountable in the moment. And whether
Yeah.
people choose to believe that or not is on them, but just be real and sincere in the moment,
Yeah.
which I don't think he ever really was. And you can see that even at the reunion, him and Rachel, this is why I don't feel bad for that bitch either. You see them laugh, they're on set and they're getting, railed by the cast, and then they get off set and then they're backstage and they're laughing like, ha ha ha, they think we're the villains now, and it's like they don't really see what their actions have done. And they're just like, well, everyone's cheated. I guess this season we're just the villains that they want to paint as the bad people. And it's like, no. Even Dodie, when Dodie and Jax did their thing, she knew when it was time to just sit there, take her beating, be humble, and work her way back in. And she was very humble. She had lots of humility coming back into that. Even Stassi, when Stassi left the show and she quit and she's like, fuck everybody, I have Patrick in New York and I'm going to peace out on the show. And then when she had to come back and, grovel and beg for forgiveness from the cast for bailing on everybody and bailing on being a good friend to Katie when Katie got engaged, she had to eat her humble pie too.
Yeah.
And even James gave her shit for that at the reunion where he was like, here comes Stassi crawling back looking for her crumbs. And she was like, yeah, she's like, listen, she's like, I have to own it. It is what it is, And so I think they all at some point have had to go through that. And I think Sandoval could have gone through that. And had he gone through that, I think there would have been a little bit more grace from the audience, from some of the other cast members. Ariana was always going to take a minute to let the ice melt, but
Oh Lord, well, I don't see him ever digging himself out of this.
No, he continues to make it worse for himself. But we do see
every day
in his sit down with Billy in the cold plunge where he's like, it's a 9 out of 10. I'm like, everybody does a fucking cold plunge. You're not that special.
I know I follow a guy on Instagram that's been doing it for 100 days. He's real cute.
Good for him. He reveals that he is in love with Raquel. Do you believe that he was genuinely in love with Raquel? My thing is, it's like, I think he was. I think at least go all in. If you guys are going to fuck up all of your lives, at least go all in and be like, it was worth it. We were in love.
No, I don't think he has the capacity to truly love. Sorry.
I mean, very possible. We saw, it didn't seem like he ever really loved Kristen Doty. I think when it came to Ariana, I think he cared about her.
I think he cared about him at the best of his ability.
Yeah. I think he cared about her. I think he had a lot of fun with her. But when the fun stopped is when he was like, okay, I need to find something else that's new and exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't really seem to go anywhere. But what do you think of Ariana not really caring about Tom's struggle? Do you think that he is just using his emotions to manipulate people?
See, this is a subject that I don't touch because when you throw in something like that, and if anyone were to ever just use that as kind of like an excuse to have people feel bad for them, like you're the worst type of person. But I don't know. That's just kind of something that I don't really touch. That's such a serious thing, and something that has really plagued our society. And I just, I don't know. I think that with Ariana, I can neither agree nor disagree with her views on it because I'm not in Ariana's shoes.
Yeah.
But for me, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, I won't even talk about something like that.
I also think she's a little jaded, and understandably so. It's fresh.
For sure.
It's still only been a couple of months. I don't think she's had enough proper time to process it. She immediately jumped into this relationship with this new guy. So I don't think she's really had a chance to work through her emotions. So a lot of it is going to come through with anger, and a lot of that anger, or all of that anger, is rooted in pain that I don't think she's fully addressed yet.
Yeah. N-Dub had a good point, but I do kind of think he was really depressed. His friend also passed the same way. I wouldn't doubt he said it.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. I think he really is. That's why everyone's like, "Oh, Tom." Like, yes, he's making himself a victim. And yes, he needs to take accountability. But also at the same time, he's lost all of his friends. His life is completely blown up. He doesn't know what his career is going to look like. Yes, it is all his doing. And again, if he took a little, accountability for
Mhm.
some of this stuff, I think he could have worked through it a lot quicker. His ego has blinded him. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that these emotions that he's having aren't real. And when you
Mhm.
have the entire world hating you, yeah, you're going to have these intense level of emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
But he seems to think that a lot of the visceral hate that's coming from the audience is stemming from Lala and Sheena. And he says that
Yes.
they're the ones that are leading
Yep.
the charge.
Yes, because they went on their podcast and he said that that everyone just kind of followed suit with them.
Bullshit.
And people were going to make their own. I believe that people were listening because they were like, "Yes, I agree with what you're saying."
Yes, it what
You
they
know?
didn't lead the
Yeah.
charge and they didn't sway people against Tom.
No.
Everybody already was hating Tom for
Yep.
what he did and his lack of remorse and lack of accountability. That's what the issue was. The world was already against him. Sheena and Lala were just two people that were participating in it. But I think if anything, they were the ones that were allowed to because they know him. They have a connection to him. Their emotions are a little more involved than any of us. We're just watching it from a show perspective.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. But also like it's expected of them to talk about what they've been going through.
Yeah.
That's what everyone is looking
Yeah.
for from them. They're not looking for you to the audience isn't looking for you to change their minds or anything, at
Yeah.
least as what I think, but they're just looking to get more insight into it.
Yeah. I think with Rachel, she was even recently being like, oh, well, look at Sheena. She couldn't stop talking about Sandoval. She capitalized off of all of this. And then she like posted on her Instagram story this week, like this montage of all the times Sheena said Sandoval's name on her podcast,
Who did that?
which Rachel.
Oh,
Which
okay.
I'm like, first of all, your whole fucking podcast is about this show that you're not even on anymore, you loser. And then second of all, like, of course Sheena was talking about Tom Sat. We were all talking about Scandival for like 8 months following
Mhm.
the fallout.
Yeah.
You can go back and pull any random batch of clips of me talking about Vanderpump Rules, and you'll
Yeah.
have a plethora of content to discuss. Sheena's on Vanderpump Rules. Sheena knows Tom Sandoval. Like they were all talking about it. We were all talking about it. The difference is at some point we're like, okay, when do we move on? Rachel's still stuck in the past talking about it.
Can we stop talking about Rachel?
Yes, we can stop talking about Rachel. I will get off my soapbox.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
What's
well then
next?
let's talk about James because the episode ends with James
Oh,
going to see Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa's like, "I have a surprise for you. It's Graham Cracker." And then here comes Lil Graham, and he comes down and he sees James, and James sees him, and he like is crying, and he's so excited that he gets reunited because Raquel dumped him.
that was the like my heart melted when I saw James C. Graham. But in this, God damn it, I just said I didn't want to talk about her anymore. But why are you going to surrender him to a shelter? Bring the dog to Lisa Vanderpump of anyone. She is going to be the one that's going to make sure that he gets a good home uh, and like
She
goes
wanted.
back to his daddy.
She didn't want it to become public. She talks about this on her stupid podcast too.
Well, that was fucking stupid.
Yes. And I have a lot of issues with the dog situation. I have two dogs of my own, and I feel very differently now compared to how I would have felt maybe a year ago.
Hmm.
But so she was in her facility,
Hmm.
and her mom was taking care of Graham, and her mom claimed that Graham bit her. And she it got leaked to TMZ. What a coinky dink. TMZ got the photo of the mom's finger from her cell phone.
Yeah.
Um, and it shows the bite on her finger. And it's a pretty bad bite,
Uh-huh.
right? And so the mom's like, I can't take care of this dog. It's too much to handle. I'm going to, drop it off at a shelter. And then it went from one shelter to the next shelter. Then eventually, based off of the chip, they
Did,
found out who the dog belonged to. And that one of the shelters contacted Lisa Vanderpump and they're like, hey, we have this dog. Can you pay for training? And Lisa's like, well, I'm not going to pay for training, but I'll take the dog. Right.
Wait, didn't it also go to a foster home and he
Yes.
bit another dog or something like that?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
So, but here's the thing, and here's the nature of dogs. First of all, dogs don't just bite for no reason,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And so, seeing that the dog bit the mom, I'm not accusing the mom of anything, but I'm just saying there's no reason this dog is just going to bite this woman for no reason out of the blue. There was something that triggered this dog, whether it was the dog was neglected, whether it was the dog was crated for too long and became very aggressive and agitated, whether it was because the mom, maybe wasn't nice to the dog and he reacted to something. There is something that triggered that reaction, right? And there's a reason that the dog decided to bite the mother. One, the dog's been separated from his owner because Rachel's
Yeah.
now in her treatment facility. And two, it's like it's in a new environment. I'm pretty sure, to me, it sounds like the mom was not taking care of this dog very well. Okay. That's
Mhm.
my own conjecture. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just saying it sounds like the mom, if she was so easily willing to give up the dog to a shelter and she has this bad bite, I think that yes, I agree, Marianne Stout. Dogs do have a good sense. It's funny. We were just at the dog park. And yes, I did get into a fight. But so we were at the dog park
What the fuck happened
celebrating
now?
celebrating. I didn't tell you this yet. We were celebrating the dog's 1-year birthday. So all the dogs most of the dogs from the litter came to the dog park and we had a cake for them. And we were just kind of like all celebrating with the puppies, right? They're a year old now. And there was this one bitch. And she came in and she brought her dog. And one thing I don't like is when people go into the dog park and they don't watch their dog and they expect other dog owners to keep an eye on their dog. So this bitch is on the phone. She's walking around the dog park, not really paying attention to her dog. I was paying attention to her dog because her dog wanted to play with my dogs, right? And I always like to be mindful and keep an eye on my dogs so I can make sure if there's an issue, I can fight somebody, right? And so she at some point came over to make some she came over to make some comment about how, because we were giving treats to the dogs, and she's like, "Can you make sure my dog doesn't eat any of your treats?" And I just looked and I know I had already, one, I was irritated that she was on the phone and not paying attention to her dog. Two, she had already made a comment to someone earlier about something else that I was annoyed with. And then Karen wants to come up and say we need to be mindful of her dog not getting any of our dog's treats. And I just looked at her and I go, "You know what? I think we should all be responsible for our own dogs." And she's like, "That's not what I was saying. I was just saying that, like, you're giving out treats to all the dogs, and I just don't want my dog to have any treats because my dog has a sensitive stomach." And I go, "And I'm sorry to hear that, but I think we should all be responsible for our own dogs." And she's like, "Well, I am being responsible for my own dog because I'm coming over here and telling you not to feed my dog." And I was like, "Great, then I won't feed your dog, but keep an eye on your dog." And so, she got mad at me because she said that I was rude, and I was, and I deserve to be. Um,
Nothing about that story shocks me. Not a damn thing.
um, but so it's just like this. Oh, but so the reason I bring this up is because there was one of Sky and Sully's brothers, Simon. And so after this interaction that her and I are having, and she's just like, "Ugh," and she's all irritated with me. And I'm like, "Bitch, you came in hot. Don't come in hot and then not expect me to be hot right back." Because if you came in, you're like, "Hi, my name is bitch ass Karen." I would have been, "Hi, bitch ass Karen. Nice to meet you." But she didn't come in like that. She came in hot with her little condescending attitude. And I was like, "Bitch, let's go. Today is not the day." To be fair, no day is ever the day to go there with me. But don't invite me to a fight because I'll show up ruthless and toothless. Okay. But so anyway, after this interaction between her and I, and she's just kind of like, "Ugh," and then Simon
She's
runs.
kind of like, what?
"Ugh." And so Simon is then like around her, and then she looks at Simon, and then she goes, "Oh, hi, buddy." And she leans in to pet him, and he growls at her. And he has not growled at anybody
Karen?
all day. He growls at Karen. And I'm like, "See, even the dog senses you're a bitch."
You told her that?
No.
Zach, that's like that would have been the greatest part of the
I
story.
wish I would have said it, but I was like,
I
"Listen,
can't believe
I
you
didn't
didn't
at
say
that
it.
point. Listen, I didn't want to escalate it any further because I can escalate it all the way. But at that point, just saying, yes, thank you, Mtronics, East LA represent. Thank you. But at that point, Simon had already done, like, my point had been made. I didn't need to further interact with this bitch. And she was just like, "Oh, oh." we're going to go. And she turns to this guy and she's like, we're leaving. And then she storms out with her dog. I'm like, good, it's about time you paid attention to your fucking dog. And then I turn to the guy and I'm like, I'm sorry that I chased her away. And he's like, oh, I just met her for the first time. And I was like, oh, well, she's even more of a dumb bitch. And then I gave him one of our well, actually, my mother gave him one of our margaritas.
Gave the dog?
No, the guy,
Oh.
because we chased away his Tinder date.
Oh, okay.
Which, to be fair, he didn't seem to like her very much either.
No, she sounded like, I'm not going to say that word.
Zach's energy right now, I'm dying. This is just my energy. I'm just full of love. Haters are going to hate, but I just love, love, love. But I'm glad James got reunited with Graham Cracker. I don't like that, you know, when Rachel went on her podcast to talk about the situation, she was like, the reason we did it the way that we did it is because we didn't want it to get in the press. I'm like, oh, so your priority was making sure that you didn't look like you gave up your dog when you gave up your dog. Got it. What did you think of Lisa Vanderpump's new dog? What was the dog's name? Donut.
Donut, yeah.
It looks like all the rest of her 15 other dogs.
No, stop. It's another Pomeranian, though, isn't it?
Exactly. It looks like all the rest of them. He's cute.
No, but does she get a new dog every single season or a new animal every season?
Yeah.
I feel like every season she gets a new one. I mean, God love her. If when I die, I would want to come back as Lisa Vanderpump's one of her pets.
Yeah. I agree. Because she really takes care of from the swans to the ponies to the dogs, the Pomeranians. Oh, remember Jiggy?
Oh, Jiggy.
He was the favorite until he died.
Rest in peace. Sweet little. What did she call him? Did she have a little name for him?
Don't remember.
Oh, maybe she just called him Gigolo.
Gigolo.
I think that's where Jiggy came from.
Oh, maybe. Well, all right. That's our recap of Vanderpump Rules. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah.
This was relatively quick tonight.
Well, we went to a good 40 minutes.
Oh, it was 40 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
And we got a lot covered. I mean, I can rant about Raquel some more if you're not ready to say
goodbye. No, I'm good.
I still got feelings about her.
No, I just need small doses of your rants about Raquel.
I will say, though, if you guys have not read the New York Times article, it is good as gold. It is pure comedy. This author, the article started off like being like, oh, you know, this scandal happened and then Ariana's making all this money. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. It's a fluff piece about Sandoval. And then we get into the article. It's a long article. Okay. You can listen to it and it's a 40-minute read, but like it was good. It was so shady and so cheeky. And the way she just sells it up, by the end of it, she's like, I was on set with Tom Sandoval as he was getting ready for his confessional. And he was wearing this outfit. And she's like, just looking at him. He reminded me of that scene from Batman Returns or The Dark Knight, where the Joker is Heath Ledger is the Joker's in the hospital and he's dressed up as a nurse. She's like, I don't know what it is about his outfit, but it reminded me of that. Did you see Garcelle's talking about Josh on the after show?
No.
I guess we make cameos in the Beverly Hills finale tonight.
I know. I've been getting messages about that. No, I didn't know that she talked about me.
I didn't either.
I love Garcelle.
Listen, I met her that night for the first time and she was very sweet to me.
Gosh,
she was very sweet. Even Krista was sweet to me. And Krista has me blocked on Instagram.
Does she?
I mean, I don't really like
what
her.
Did you stop?
I didn't say Crystal. Listen,
yes,
I think Crystal. Here's the thing. The hard part is my job is to comment on these things. And I know you have a hard time with it because you're like, these are not just reality stars, they're real people. And like, that's why you choose to not comment on these things. And you prefer
especially
scripted.
Not any of them because I know them.
Yeah.
And I know the people that they are. Y'all only see which is like interesting because I don't know any of the Vanderpump Rules people, but I'll never stop going hard on the worm.
Jen says, I recommend listening to Ryan Bailey or Jillian Lenzer recapping the article. Actually, Jen Willow, I recommend listening to Zack Peter because he did a whole episode on it that aired on the podcast today, diving into the article. But I do love Ryan and I do love Jolene, so you can listen to them after you listen to Zack Peter. No Filter with Zack Peter is available right now on all podcast platforms. Thank you. I saw Ryan Bailey today. I saw him at Jeff Lewis. He was doing the after show. I love Ryan. He's a great guy. And I love Jolene. I have no shade to either of them, but I did do a recap too. Beverly Hills. Garcelle's lovely, and she looked lovely that night.
Yeah.
And we had a great time with her. I posted on my Instagram story a video of my friend Andy, who's like dancing on stage with Garcelle. It was a great time. The finale's out tonight. The white party was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. God, I mean, they really pulled out all the stops for it.
I do love that people kept mentioning that you were wearing a brown leather jacket to the white party.
I was fucking freezing. Everything else was white. I was like Denise. Denise came in wearing a pink jacket.
God. And Camille came in wearing like a blue dress.
Yeah, Camille was just in blue. I was like, well, at least
I'm not the only Aaron came in like blue jeans and a cap and a jacket.
Wait, hold up, because weren't you in black and white?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody give me shit for my jacket, so I didn't catch a cold.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, because people gave you shit for it, and I wasn't even wearing all white. But to be fair, I did not know I was going to Kyle Richards' white party.
Where the fuck did you think you were going?
I got an invite to the finale. So I showed up to the finale, and in part of the details, I had saw a mention of a white party. And I remember even texting Andy, because Andy's the one that I brought to the party with me. And I remember texting Andy and being like, I think we're going to a white party. And I was like, but this is weird. I was like, a white party? Only Kyle's the one that has a white party. And for the finale, I was so confused until I got there. Literally until I got to SoFi and then saw everybody wearing all white. And I was like, holy fuck, this is Kyle's white party.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to be like at a lounge at SoFi somewhere. I didn't realize we were going to be on the field. Like was like, oh my.
It was unreal. And I think I even walked up to you and I said, it's a white party, huh? And he was like, I didn't know it was the white party.
No, actually, if I remember that correctly, you walked up and you looked at me and I was like, listen, I didn't know I was going to the white party. And you were like, well, no shit.
Yeah, that sounds more right. Oh my God, it was so funny. But we had a good time. I mean, that was an epic party.
That was. I mean, the fact that we were on SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
That's like where they play football for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
All right. Well, we got to get some food in us.
Go and get some supper.
Supper time. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next Wednesday. Sorry we missed you last Wednesday, but we were at the Bourbon Room.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, totally forgot about that the Wednesday before when we said we would be doing this last Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. See you next week. Bye, guys. Drop a comment below letting us know your favorite.
Go follow me on YouTube.
Yeah, go follow Josh on YouTube. Josh from Louisiana.
YouTube.com/@Josh from Louisiana.
It's in the headline right here. So you can just click on his name and it'll take you right to his YouTube channel. So go and subscribe to his YouTube channel right now.
I've actually decided that I'm going to start recapping and cooking. I'm loving that so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to learn how to cook some shit, usually Southern dishes, and listen to a recap. Right now, I'm still doing Southern Charm New Orleans because I started it. I'm committed. I'm almost done with the second season, and then we're done. I'm also recapping Capote versus the Swans on Tuesdays, which is released at 12 p.m. Let me know what other shows you would want me to talk about.
Yeah. Real Houses of Beverly Hills.
I will never do that. It's a conflict of interest.
All right, guys. Well, go follow Josh from Louisiana. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Give him the likes and the comments and all the engagement to keep him going. He's so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, which we're trying to get to.
That's my goal,
1,000. So go watch his cooking videos because he's just like the barefoot Contessa, but he's, the barefoot Contessa.
I would have bet all of my student loans being paid off that you were going to go there.
Really?
Yes. All right, let's go get supper.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.